Bitcoin dumped more than 9% over the weekend from its all-time high, and most of us, including us here, well, maybe not all of us here, thought it was ready to rip to 150K. But the crazy thing is, at the same time, MicroStrategy and its copycats just bought $2.5 billion of Bitcoin last week, which is leading everyone to wonder, why is the price not mooning? Is the bull run over? Or this is going to be the bullish take of this, guys. Or is Bitcoin gearing up for the most bullish quarters in its history? When we dive into the history of Bitcoin, you might just be surprised. Again, I've been saying it for a couple of months here on the show. Did they say we crashed? Are we still live? Yeah, looks like we're still here. It looks like we're still here. Guys, let me let us know in the chat. Are we still? Yeah, okay, they're laughing at us. We're totally live. Nico freaking got me all off cater today.
It was restream. That's all
right. Anyways, let's get into it, guys. I've been saying for a minute, I think the end of this year is going to set up super bullish. But before I get into that, of course, I'm sure you guys saw over the weekend, Friday, Bitcoin dumped. We got to a low of about 111K. It really kind of rebounded around 112. And then today we kicked back up to around 115K. Roughly right now, I think last I saw before I went live was like 114.7. So it seems to be rebounding strong. But of course, as is always, as is usual here, when Bitcoin dumps, you start to get, the sky is falling, it's over. I think we still all have PTSD considering the 2021 bull market got cut short. The double top meme is still alive. And here's some headlines from over the weekend. Bitcoin holders bleed as Binance daily inflows near 7,000 Bitcoin. Just going to read the kind of key points. Bitcoin speculators, I guess that's us, joins whales in sending Bitcoin to exchanges, and the price then dipped below 112. Again, I think I saw 111.4 as the lowest it got. An analyst warns that continued whale selling could spark a deeper, longer Bitcoin price correction. Exchange order book activity shows large-scale market exiting, but Bitcoin is attempting to reclaim 114. This was a couple days ago. It did reclaim it. And of course, as we had probably one of the most bearish weeks in terms of Bitcoin being sold on the exchanges, again, hundreds of thousands of coins were hitting the exchanges last week. The Bitcoin price coming back to around 115K. I think it's really, really strong signal that this run isn't over. I would argue that this run hasn't even started, and I'll make my case for that in a minute. But before we go on to that, we even got Arthur Hayes, who has been historically bullish the last couple of months, starting to get bearish. So I think him and Nico have been communicating lately because, Nico's the perma bear here. But bearish Arthur Hayes says Bitcoin could retrace to 100K on macro headwinds. Let's kind of just read over what these macro headwinds are. Hayes linked the recent crypto pullback to renewed tariff fears sparked by the disappointing non-farm payrolls report, which showed just 73,000 new jobs added in the U.S. in July, a sign of economic fragility. And then, of course, Hayes also pointed to sluggish credit growth in major economies, stunting nominal gross domestic product growth, and warning that Bitcoin could fall towards 100K. Again, it kind of held up pretty good. And the consideration of everything, it kind of held up good considering there was hundreds of thousands of coins hitting the exchange last week. We saw a lot of old dormant wallets start to open up and move, which really kind of got the rumor mills going of the consideration of how many, quote, lost Bitcoin are there really. I know the old debates of, hey, we should change the code so that we can scoop up all those old Bitcoins because, no one's using all that lost Bitcoin needs to get recirculated. I think now that meme has kind of thoroughly been destroyed. And we can just say there's some OG holders out there that have been holding this stuff for a long time. Those coins are probably not lost, which is going to be very interesting moving forward. Considering whether there's actually, the common kind of idea is there's like 4 or 5 million Bitcoin that are lost. Now, I don't think we can even say that anymore. It's starting to look like people have just been holding it for that long. There's obviously a lot of lost coin, but maybe all of our estimates of how much coin is lost is really overshooting it. Anyways, at the same time, this is where it starts to get really crazy. I know everyone was watching over the weekend. We got a bullish report coming out of the White House. We're getting all kinds of turnarounds coming out of the SEC, and we're seeing literally unprecedented buys coming from these corporate treasury companies, not just MicroStrategy or Metaplanet. There's actually been a huge. So Metaplanet buys $54 million worth of Bitcoin, maintaining their 7th place globally with 17,595 Bitcoin. And then, of course, Saylor just bought up more Bitcoin. He announced a $2.4 billion buy. I believe it was like Tuesday or Wednesday. And then by Thursday night, he announced another $4-point-something billion buy. So he is scooping up coins. Of course, all that capital hasn't really fully hit the market. But looking over at Bitcoin treasuries, of course, Strategy now holds 628,791 coins. And there was actually a good clip. I don't know if we want to play it or have enough time to play it. But he was asked on, I believe it was Squawk Box, are you trying to own all of the Bitcoin? And he finally came around to saying, like, no, there's no value in one entity owning all the Bitcoin, which is something all of us, Bitcoiners have been saying for a long time. As you can see, Metaplanet's still buying. They're currently in 7th place. And, Coinbase is finally coming to the game and starting their own or continuing their Bitcoin treasury strategy. They bought a couple, I think it was a couple thousand over the weekend. So you can see, the game's getting crazy. And Jack Mallers 21 Capital, they're coming in strong, jumped to the 3rd place with 43,000. Anyways, that's we've been watching the Bitcoin treasury strategies play out. They're supposedly scooping up a lot of Bitcoin. But this news right here, shouts out to Bitcoin Archive. Public companies bought over $2.5 billion of Bitcoin last week. Of course, everyone wants to catch Saylor. You can see here the weekly net inflow was $2.56 billion. The weekly Bitcoin net inflow was 21,895.98 Bitcoin. But of course, that really is only a dent when you consider that there was literally, one $80,000 sale of Bitcoin last week, and then there was multiple old wallets opening up, and I think the math that we had, it was like 107,000 Bitcoin that hit the exchanges last week. So I think it's very simple. I know there's still the conversation of paper Bitcoin. Is the price being suppressed? I always, Occam's razor this. There's a lot of Bitcoin being sold right now, but in the face of everything going on, Bitcoin holding on at around 115, I think is super, super bullish. And before I get into my bullish takes on why I think this is going to end up and be an incredibly bullish end of the year, Nico, let's pass it to you. What's your initial thoughts when you saw the price dump? What's your ideas? Is Arthur right? And then take into account all of the Bitcoin that is supposedly, again, I'm doing air quotes here, supposedly being bought by these Bitcoin treasury companies. What's your vibe here? As the reigning perma-bear on the show, what is your gut telling you right now before I make my bullish case?
Yeah, I mean, my gut is telling me that, dude, we're supposedly in a quote unquote bull market, but I haven't seen it yet. I haven't seen this bull market. Like we've been essentially going sideways for the past year or so. And we started the year at 109,000 on Trump's inauguration day. We're at 115,000. We dipped to 75,000 in the middle of the year. Now we're back up, but this isn't a bull market. I think I saw British Hodl say it initially where he was like, look, guys, we're not in a bull market right now. And I would agree with him. We're not in a bull market. This doesn't feel like a bull market. I think we're going to have a great end of the year. That's what my spidey senses are telling me just based on Bitcoin's historical patterns. But I would say that this year has been underwhelming so far. Bitcoin is still up. I think it's up like 10-20% on the year, which is fantastic, just in general terms. But in Bitcoin terms, it's been a little bit lackluster. But here's the silver lining that I will say, though, too, is I think the more we consolidate at these prices, the bigger the base when we inevitably start to go up. So I think it is a good thing, but I just think that it's just going to take a while. And I also think that the institutions coming in change the dynamic of how these bull markets operate. They're acting very, very differently than to what they normally do. And I think that's something to keep in mind as we go forward. Anyways, Opti, what's your take on all this?
Yeah, no, I think you're right, though. Look at our boy UTXO over here on Rumble. He says, we've been essentially going sideways for the last 2 years. Up 400% is basically the same as zero. So it looks like we're all on the same page here. And also, Nico, we didn't cover it as news, but there was the rumor of China banning Bitcoin again, and I think that's what everyone was saying that dropped the Bitcoin price. Though it does look like it's losing its flavor, it's losing its effect now. If it's true, though, from what I saw, guys, that they didn't actually usher in a new ban. I think it was the same one from 2021. So I don't think that we can kind of connect that to why the price dumped, but we did see a dump over the weekend, you know. So either way, buying opportunity for everyone here. If you like Bitcoin at 123K, you love it at 113K and 111K. It seems like the dip got bought up. Anyways, I did say I was going to make a bullish case here. First one is kind of me trolling. I'm not going to lie. This first one is kind of a troll, but this is my first point here, guys. And we've been saying this on the show for a minute, but we got Jim Cramer. He literally, actually, maybe he's the one to blame because he did endorse Bitcoin last week and then the price dumped. So inverse Cramer, just completely undefeated. Anytime he says anything favorable about anything, it's going to dump. But we got a little saving grace here. He tweeted over, this was what, Friday night, Jim Cramer, which is what we tell you guys. Remember the meme of sell in May and go away. I was joking that the summer months are bad because all of the investment hedge fund guys, the bankers, they're over in St. Bart's on their yachts chilling. They're hanging out with their family. Well, Jim Cramer is doubling down. So you know what this is telling me? It's going to rebound. Bitcoin's going to rebound strong. And anyways, he tweets, I always despise both August and September, just tough months to make money. You know what I'm hearing? I'm hearing Bitcoin is going to rip. So inverse Cramer, in effect, on the opposite way, it's going to be a bullish August just because Cramer said it was going to be a bad August. Though I am kind of trolling. That is kind of a troll. Anyways, what I really want to show you guys here today is the monthly returns on Bitcoin. Historical monthly returns here. You guys can see Bitcoin monthly returns, and there is kind of a pattern here. Of course, we've been talking about this for a few, I guess, years now. Shouts out to American HODL, 3 red, 1 green. Well, we are in the supposed green year. And so if you kind of look at this here, you can kind of see a very similar dynamic play out. We have the first green here and then 3 red, 1 green, and then we got 2 reds with 1 green, 3 reds. And of course, we're starting off August not so well, but just imagine that this August month is going to end up green, and we have a super bullish setup for the end of the year. So historically, when we have a good July, then August also pumps. We've seen this play out multiple times, actually almost every time except for last year, that we saw every time we have a green July, a bullish July, we have a bullish August, and there's only one break in that pattern, which was in 2024. This update here, this is on CoinGlass, is obviously the first 3-4 days of the month, so we don't have that to really hang our hat on. But looking further out, if you guys check this out, historically, October, November is the most bullish time in Bitcoin. So it looks like we're going to be set up for a great Q4. Maybe that's not what you want to hear here today. You're just like, I want this to rip to 150. I was promised 150K. Are we going to 200K plus? It looks like we might. This is my optimistic take on where we are right now. It looks like we are going to be set up for an incredible Q3 and Q4. We'll see if this plays out. Maybe September will be a little correction month, but October, November is going to be a great, great time. So maybe we'll have one more dip in us. Who knows how low the dip will go? But I'm starting to look at, hey, if we get a green October, a bullish August, then we're going to be set up really good for Q4 of this year. And then really kind of going further into some of these charts. Again, shouts out to Archive. Bitcoin demand remains strong. Accumulation is rising. Long-term holders still buying. Here you can see the demand for accumulator addresses. It's going parabolic right now. You have sell-side liquidity going down. All exchanges, including the, grayscale Bitcoin holdings, they are being diminished right now. And then the apparent demand is on the rise right now. So even though the price is probably, you're probably getting bored to death right now because of the sideways action, as we kind of mentioned earlier, we've been going sideways for a long time, which in our view, it basically means it's zero. It's over here. We're getting bored to death. But I think it's going to be set up for a solid August and then a solid Q4. So I wouldn't be selling your Bitcoin right now. Don't sell the top right now. You're probably going to regret that. Anyways, that's my kind of analysis here. This is my chart boying. Join my free paid group later. No, I don't actually have one. I do this free on the show for you guys. This is my free paid group. It's on Simply Bitcoin. So this is what I'm seeing right now, guys. I don't think it's anything to worry about. But again, what do I know? I don't have a crystal ball. I get trolled in the chat that if we don't get to 500K, a million this year, then we're liars, etc. Look, I'm updating my models with the information as it comes as well, man. So this is what I'm seeing. I don't think it's time to panic. Anyways, Nico, from there, take it away. Do you think we are going to see, based on my case here, are we going to see a bullish August and a bullish Q4?
Yeah, I mean, I think this is what everyone is kind of, this is what is predicting, which actually worries me a little bit. But
dude, I get bullish and he's still bearish. This is crazy.
Yeah. So, I mean, look, it's a big if Bitcoin follows historical patterns, that's the big if. If Bitcoin follows historical patterns, then we are very well set up for an explosive end of Q3 and Q4, right? And then a lot of people are also talking about an extended bull market. A lot of people are saying that
someone just said that in here.
The Bitcoin bull market is going to be extended
Q2 2026
into the second half of 2026. Michael Saylor is going on and basically saying, could you pull up that meme that he posted on his account? Where he's like, it's the end of winters. There is there is no Bitcoin winters anymore. I've heard that. I've heard that before, right?
But he is buying all the Bitcoin, so he's got a Godfather meme too. Legend.
So could you share that? So I mean, like, my take on all this is like, look, like, that dump that happened last week was not cool. Like, I mean, it followed strategies. Essentially, like they did their earnings call. Right, they had like Lynn Alden on the call. They had like Preston Pish on the call. They absolutely crushed it in terms of performance, and then the price dumped regardless. Historically, Bitcoin's price doesn't do so well during the summer. People kind of just unplug, but it does do a little bit better towards the end of the year. But the reality is that we've been essentially consolidating for 7 months. 7 months of consolidation, with volatility to the downside, not even the upside. But again, the more we kind of consolidate, the better the platform is when we eventually go up. So when Bitcoin's number eventually goes up to the moon, there's a very strong platform of which Bitcoin could jump off of, right? And I think this is where we're at right now. We're like in this like really kind of unique situation where Bitcoin has been going sideways essentially for 7 months, and eventually that kind of leads up to an explosive move upwards. And what Arthur Hayes is basically making the case for, and Larry Lepard and Lynn Alden, is that they're going to eventually start printing a whole lot of money. And when they do that, that tends to make the price go up, right? Up and to the right. So, I mean, I think that's my base case, man. But I don't know. I feel a little bit chewed up here, Opti. Like, this is 7 months of kind of boringness. This is paper Bitcoin summer, right? And I don't know, man. I remember the good old days, right? Where like we used to like 2-3x in like a matter of 2 or 3 months. Now it's taking a little bit longer. Now, to be fair, since the bottom of Bitcoin, like the bottom of the 22, was it 22? Yeah, it was the 22 bear market. It was at $16,000. We're up at 115,000. So, I mean, from a percentage return, that's a fantastic return, right? What is that, like 5, 6, 7x? It's pretty good. It's not bad.
I don't know. Let me chart.
It's not bad at all, right? If you take just go from the bottom of the bear.
Which bear though?
The bear, bro. The bottom of the bear.
Here,
So you just take the rule. Yeah, exactly.
Let me take this off. All right,
So,
guys, I'm doing it live behind the scenes. I don't need you guys trolling me about my chart volume over here. To today's price?
Yeah. No. But that's 25. That's this year.
Okay.
I'm talking about
Sorry.
Zoom out. Press the 5-year thing. So I mean, like, look, like from the bottom of the 2022 bear market, right there. Look. That's
from
it, right?
2022.
Yeah, that's the cycle bear. That's the cycle bottom. To the cycle top, we're up 641% in what, 2 years? That's an incredible. That's an incredible return.
Dude,
so
it's over.
But again, from a Bitcoiner's perspective, you're like, dude, that's super boring. Like, you know, what's going on here? I think again, we're chop solidating. The last time we did that was in March of 24, and we did that all until October of 24.
Bullish October.
And then October, we kind of pulled up again. It definitely looks like it's on an upward trend. We kind of had our correction into the 76K region. So, yeah, I mean, I am bullish for the end of the year, but, you know, I kind of want to see it go up because we haven't made all-time highs.
There we go. I'll show this one.
In Bitcoin terms, and in Bitcoin to gold terms, we have not made an all-time high. I don't know if anyone knows that.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I can
Someone
show
in the
that
chat saying 600%. Yeah, so freaking boring. Hard hodl. At the Bitcoin conference, someone pointed out that Nico looks like... I can't say that. That's so funny. The chat's popping off. Anyways, if you guys are enjoying the show, smash that like button.
Here's Bitcoin and gold.
Help us break 100 likes within the first 30 minutes of the show. So smash that like button if you guys are enjoying the content.
We're kind of breaking the 2021 high right now.
We are?
Yeah, I think we just broke it. Let me see. No, right under it.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to tell you. We haven't made all-time highs in gold since 2021, right? So, I mean, like, we're going higher. It's just taking longer, which kind of goes into the whole power law narrative, right? Where they're like, look, we're going to go up in percentage terms the same. It's just going to take a lot longer. I think that's where we're at right now. But, yeah, I mean, I'm telling you, like, this institutional money, once it's gotten in, it's gotten weird, man. It's gotten weird. Like, it's gotten super, super weird. Like, Bitcoin has been acting strange since the approval of the ETF in January of 2024. Like, the price action isn't the same. I can't pronounce that name. It says, we go to 1 million in boredom. Someone says, this is boring for people who got in after 60K. I think that's a good point. Someone else says, the price is kicking total ass. What's not to like?
We're just bored.
I think, yeah, maybe we're just bored.
We're getting bored to death.
But what's
That
your
should be a boomer section.
What's your take on the price action going downwards?
I think it's honestly very strong. Considering like what Arthur Hayes is saying, you know, the macro tailwinds right now, or headwinds, sorry. There is a lot of economic uncertainty. There's a lot of things going on right now that are kind of shaking up the system. And the fact that we saw literally like 100,000+ coins hit the exchange and we're still at 115. Like, the biggest signal that I saw someone tweet out reminded me of, this was right before my time, but the bear whale that Nico was around for. You know, the infamous bear whale story. The guy sold 30,000 Bitcoin, and it took forever to get out of the bear market. This time, we had literally 180,000 Bitcoin transaction It's still above 100K. It's still around 115K, and that wasn't even accounting for the other 20,000 plus coins right now. So I think the market is very strong. And again, I got to give a shout out to Mitchell Hoddle. I think he might be right here. And Eric Balkunas kind of said it as well, the Bloomberg ETF analyst. It's like ever since the Bitcoin ETF, the market structure has fundamentally changed. And I think I honestly, I don't want to say this time's different because you guys are going to troll me, but it does feel like things have fundamentally changed and we won't be able to really recognize it until after the fact, 2020 hindsight and all that. So I think things are changing for better or for worse. And I'm starting to lean into, we're just going to get bored to death to 1 million. So, just keep stacking. We're probably going to have to find new topics.
What's a bored to death to 1 million? What does that look
Literally
like?
what we're doing right now. Just a little bit of pump, sideways action, slight correction, a little bit of pump.
You think the eras of the parabolic movements upwards are over?
I think like on a yearly chart, it'll still look parabolic. But I'm not sure if it's still going to be, you need to be in the market for 12 days, how it used to be that Bitcoin would pump after 12 days and we'd do all these crazy price movements. It might just be you pump, 1 month you pump, then it goes sideways and it does this stair-stepping ladder, and then you go sideways for a couple of months and then it just pumps again for another 20, 30, 50%. And it just kind of does this very boring, I don't know, man. We're trading the S&P 500. Mel, who is bored? Seriously, I'm totally bored right now. Dark gets it. We're gonna be bored when the price hits $1 million because we knew it was gonna get there for so long. So slow climb is good though. A slow climb is obviously healthy, and I'm all for it. But can we get 2017 vibes back?
I mean, I think eventually. But that's
Whales,
that's $1 million question, right? And I'm gonna put that in the chat. I want to get your guys' thoughts. Is the era of Bitcoin parabolas?
Yeah. See, everyone's bored in the chat. Mel, what are you talking about?
All right.
This is a better question.
I just asked everyone in the chat.
This is a better question.
Is the era of Bitcoin parabolas over?
Though, to add to this, would you rather a parabolic blow off top or up slowly for the next 10 years?
Blow off top, dude.
I don't know.
Give me that dopamine, dude.
Dude, this last bear market was kind of rough being all in on Bitcoin. I'm not going to lie. So
give me that dopamine, bro.
I want slow and up and to the right forever.
Yeah?
Yeah, no more bear markets. Dude, no more winters.
But, dude, we haven't even gone up and to the right for like 7 months. Though.
Bro, it's literally only been up and to the right.
No, it hasn't.
Yes, it has.
I don't know.
It's literally up and to the right, like you're tripping. Look at this. It's literally up and to here. Let me show it. Dude, we're chart boying. We're not
chart boying. We're talking about this discussion.
Look at this, dude. Literally just up and to the right, dude. Like it pumps, goes sideways. It pumps, it goes sideways. It pumps, it goes sideways. So it pumps, it's gonna go sideways.
But look, compare it to.
I agree. Like this is what I want. I want this. I'm being selfish. I want this. Look, I'll even take 2021.
Right. So the consensus. I want to take a look at how the chart is doing. I mean, how not the chart, but I want to take a look at how the poll is doing, and seeing what everyone thinks. I said, is the era of Bitcoin parabolas over? 60% of you guys, 60% said no.
All right, let's go.
60% said there is going to be some type of action. I'm thinking there is going to be some type of action.
All right, we got to change this segment because somehow I am the bearish one here, and I don't like this. My ego can't handle me being more bearish than Nico here, so...
Anyways, guys, we have a loaded show for you guys. So much to talk about. We have Senators Cynthia Lummis going hard in the paint, really putting pressure on the Federal Reserve. Also, more action coming out of the Federal Reserve. Fed Governor Kugler resigns, giving Trump vacancy, which is really, really interesting. I believe at the current moment, with this current resignation, I think it's going to be 3-3 Republican Democrat. So it's going to be like across the board kind of even. And then we played an ad on Friday that you guys didn't like.
Totally nuked our numbers. I was right. Vindicated again.
You guys didn't like, but essentially it was like a musical of Coinbase, like dancing and celebrating and
super mid.
Like in the UK, and apparently that ad got banned in the UK.
Yeah, it didn't get banned because it was saying too much signal. It was banned because it was horrible.
And then we got some thoughts from Josh Mandel, and we got some interesting data coming out of Fred Krueger, which I think is really interesting. And then we have a thread by Arthur Hayes. So guys, this is going to be an incredible show. You guys are going to want to stay tuned in. This is Simply Bitcoin on August 4th, 2025. Before we start the show, I do want to give a shout out to our lead sponsor, BitcoinWell.com. BitcoinWell.com is the best place to build your automatic self-custody Bitcoin stack. What makes them awesome, what makes them fantastic is that they're automatic self-custody. You put in your email address. It takes 2 to 5 minutes to get signed up. And bada bing, bada boom, you are ready to buy Bitcoin. What makes Bitcoin Well different is that it's automatic self-custody. What does that mean? That means that when you buy Bitcoin on Bitcoin Well, as soon as the funds clear, it goes straight to your self-custody Bitcoin wallet address. When you buy Bitcoin on Bitcoin Well, you earn something called Bitcoin Well points, and you could use those points towards a variety of different prizes, and you could also get 3 tosses into the Bitcoin wishing well, where you have an opportunity to win up to 1 million sats every single time if you go to bitcoinwell.com/simply. So we're going to toss a coin into the wishing well right now. And first person to scan the QR code has won 500 Satoshis. If you're a higher net worth individual looking to buy $50,000 worth of Bitcoin or more, check out bitcoinwell.com/OTC. To get started, go to bitcoinwell.com/OTC. Invest in Bitcoin. Preserve your wealth. Bitcoin Well Infinite enables large Bitcoin investments personalized for you and your business. So you're going to have a dedicated account representative of which you can call or text every time you want to buy or sell Bitcoin. Again, to get started, go to bitcoinwell.com/OTC today. All right, everybody, let's start the show. We have tons to talk about. We will be right back in just a second.
I want to tell you guys about our sponsor, Stamp Seed. Is your Bitcoin in cold storage really secure? Are your seed words really secure? Stamp Seed's do-it-yourself kit has everything you'll need to hammer your seed words into commercial-grade titanium plates instead of writing them down on paper. Don't do that. Paper sucks. You want to literally stamp your seed into this plate of titanium. Your words are actually stamped into the metal plate with this hammer. So once your words are in, they aren't going anywhere. No risk of the plate breaking apart and your pieces falling everywhere. Titanium stamp seeds will survive nearly triple the heat produced by a house fire. They are also crush-proof, waterproof, non-corrosive, and most importantly, because this is generational wealth, time-proof. All things that paper is not, allowing you to hodl your Bitcoin for the long haul. I mean, here is the plate that they crushed. They put in water, they put a blowtorch to it, and as you can see, the words have survived. Stamp your seed on Stamp Seed. And you can use promo code SIMPLY to get 15% off anything on their store. Head over to stampseed.com today.
All right, everybody. At the time of recording, the Bitcoin price is $115,720. Block height 908,592 sats per dollar, 864 sats per dollar. Market cap 2.34 trillion. Bitcoin versus gold market cap 9.67%. Decline from all-time high -6%. Realized monetary inflation 0.84%. In the grand scheme of things, we're just getting started. Anyways, here is the Bitcoin Senator Cynthia Lummis on the floor of the Senate, and she's been going super hard on the Federal Reserve for acting politically. I'll just play the clip, and then Opti and I will talk about it.
I won't have any confidence in the Fed's IG and its findings until that person has statutory independence from the Fed chair. The Federal Reserve has grown too powerful, too insulated, too comfortable, and they are operating in the shadows. And this is the minimum we can do to start getting this independent agency some scrutiny. They don't even respond to FOIA requests. You can't get an answer. That place is whack-a-mole. If you try to talk to the Fed chair about something, they'll put it on the vice chair for banking supervision, who will put it on the presidents of the Federal Reserve banks, who put it back on the White House, who put it back on bank supervision, who put it on the lawyer for bank supervision. This place is a ping pong ball when it comes to trying to get an answer to a question. It's become a giant black hole of...
I mean, that's pretty crazy, bro. You know, and again, like when they always talk about Bitcoin being, obscure and you don't know what's going on with Bitcoin and it's this private money. Like there you have Senator Lummis basically saying, hey, like this is a black hole. Like we can't even get answers out of them when we want answers out of them. Like a FOIA request, by the way, is a Freedom for Information Act. Like they should be responding to that, and they feel like they don't need to, right? So that's pretty crazy. And you kind of just see like the political dynamic between the Trump administration and the Federal Reserve, where Trump is basically saying, okay, you need to lower rates, what's going on here? And then the Fed doesn't. And then we know that during Operation Choke Point 2.0, they got their hands dirty in taking down some of these pro-Bitcoin banks and passing some of this anti-Bitcoin legislation or some of the regulatory actions that were done by the previous administration. This is also an institution that wants to roll out a central bank digital currency. So someone in the chat saying they're a private company. I mean, they sure are acting like it. And this institution has so much power. It has so much power. And it's unaccountable. It's unauditable. You don't know what's going on there. It's a trust me, bro type of situation. And this institution basically controls the country's money. Like, what are we doing here? What the F is going on, right? As Bitcoiners, you could buy a node, you could download a node, you can audit the chain, you know what everyone is doing, it's public. It's an open ledger. You don't have to trust me, bro. And this is a system that's a trust me, bro system. It's like, trust me, bro. And it's not even, and then when you ask, it's like, okay, man, but like, I'm having a hard time trusting you. Like, could you do me a solid and like, send me something like good, and it just ignores you. That doesn't give a lot of confidence in the trust me, bro, right? Model. So, I applaud Senator Lummis for highlighting basically the hypocrisies, the inefficiencies, the obscurity that this institution is acting with. This, again, is supposed to be an institution that is supposed to represent the interest of the American people. Who's it accountable to, is my question. If it's not accountable to us, who's it accountable to, right? Who is the Federal Reserve accountable to? Because it's not acting like it's accountable to the people. It's acting like it's accountable to itself. And I don't know if you guys saw that video of Trump basically going back and forth with Powell, and like Trump is basically saying, like, you guys are spending $3.1 billion essentially updating the building. Bro, what type of building is that? What type of building is that? $3.1 billion. What are they building in there, dude? Like, What type of renovation costs $3.1 billion? That's insane. And then people in the chat are saying it's acting like a cartel. Yeah, I mean, it sure does look like it. It's like, we don't answer to you. We don't even respond to Freedom of Information Act. We were hostile towards Bitcoin with the previous administration. We kind of want to roll out a central bank digital currency. Like, so if it's not democratically accountable, if it's acting in obscurity, like, I at this point, I don't care what they have to say about Bitcoin. It seems like the things that they have to say about Bitcoin, they're guilty of themselves. They're projecting onto us what it is they are guilty themselves. That's my stance on the Fed, bro, because this is some crazy stuff. Anyway, people in the chat are all agreeing. It is actually a cartel by definition. Like, you know, like this is crazy, man. This is some crazy stuff. And I applaud the Bitcoin senator for going up there bravely and just telling the Senate, you know, we're basically playing a game of whack-a-mole, right? And we can't find out what the F is going on. We can't get the truth out of this institution. So I'm really glad we have, you know, a senator that's actually highlighting what's going on, and she's sitting on the banking committee too. So it's perfect, right? So anyways, guys, I think the veil is being uncovered. I think the very legitimacy of this institution is being questioned. The Overton window is shifting. It needs to continue to shift, and people need to wake the F up and realize that this institution is not accountable to anyone. And we need to wake the F up and realize that now we have a better system, an open protocol of which we don't have to play the trust me bro model. We can play the don't trust me bro verify model, which I think is a much superior model. And someone in the chat said they already basically, I don't know if I could say that, but they basically said that, like, look, like, they took over the United States in 1913. What more do we need to build an alternative? Like, I completely agree. I mean, the whole history of that institution is obscure. It's cloak and dagger. It's not open. It's not transparent. It's not public, right? They keep saying how Bitcoin is private money. That's a projection. That's a projection. Our money is more public than their money. If you try to make more dollars, that's counterfeiting. Anyone can make more Bitcoin as long as you pay for the electricity, right? So yeah, I mean, this is I'm very glad Senator Lummis is on our team. Opti, what's your take on all this, bro?
Yeah, well, I mean, first of all, of course, I'm glad Senator Lummis is a Bitcoiner. I think she's doing her best. And I think it's doing a good job to kind of, as Nico likes to say, move the Overton window. Though I think I'm a little more cynical in regards to what we're seeing from the politicians and the Fed. I just keep getting reminded of Scott Bessent and Jerome Powell literally have lunch every Monday. So, like, they're literally in lunch, like, right now. So there is this independence, and we need to kind of put them in check. Like, by default, it's not federal. It has no reserves. I don't think it really is independent. I think we did that article the other day of, like, the independence is a myth. I don't think they are actually acting nefarious per se. Like, I don't think they're doing anything that the Trump administration doesn't want them to do. I think Scott Bessent and Jerome Powell are kind of doing a really good coordination right now. And hey, Jerome Powell is being the scapegoat. Like, he's the bad guy right now. Now, do I necessarily believe in the Fed? No. You know me, I'm a Bitcoiner. I think there needs to be the separation of money and state. I don't believe in central banks at all. But I think this is more coordinated than we're led to believe. Now, does Senator Lummis, is she in on that? I don't think so. So like what she's doing, I think is really good to kind of wake up the masses out there and kind of show everyone out there, if they're following politics, that, hey, there is something wrong with the Fed. There is, you know, as Thomas Sowell used to say, you know, there is a cancer there, which is the Fed. And when you remove it, you don't put a new tumor in. So maybe I'm a little more cynical here. Again, I do take a lot of this from what Tom Luongo has been saying for a long time. Is I think there's more of a coordinated dance being played right now by Scott Bessent and Jerome Powell together to essentially drive a lot of pain to European markets. And I think they're doing a great job doing that. Now, I know Trump and Jerome Powell have been kind of publicly beefing, but I think that this is, it reminds me of the, you know, the wrestling term. It reminds me of key fob. Like they are, it's all a show right now. That's kind of my take on all of this. But that whole speech that Senator Lummis did was great. I think she did a great job. She thoroughly destroyed the Fed, which is what we always talk about here. But it's very interesting that Main Street or, you know, retail or just the average person just really tunes it out. Like if you talk to an average person about ending the Fed, they probably don't care at all. They're probably more focused on what they would say are bigger problems right now. But from our perspective, they are the biggest problem. They're destroying our purchasing power, and they do act quote unquote independently, and they can do whatever they want. And then we just have to kind of deal with it. But I am kind of on the side that I think Scott Bessent and Jerome Powell are kind of, they're doing a coordinated dance right now. And I think it's working very well.
Yeah, 100%, man. I mean, I don't know. I don't know, Opti. You think this is on purpose? You think it's all like a?
Yes.
You're really on the Tom Luongo camp.
I
huh?
really am. Like, again, look, I'm becoming a more macro guy now. And
Opti is the in-house macro expert.
Dude, well, we got problems here, you know. But I'm not the only one who's saying it. Like, Tom Luongo has been saying it for a long time. Mark Moss just recently came out and said the same thing. He's calling it the Mar-a-Lago Accords. Like, what he's seeing Scott Bessent do and Jerome Powell do currently is essentially to bankrupt the European Union. And it's working marvelously right now. Like, a lot of this pressure, like I know Trump wants to lower interest rates, but the fact that Jerome Powell has been able to maintain the interest rates that we have right now is really, really becoming a headache for European markets. And you can see that the EU leaders are scrambling right now. This is why you're seeing Christine Lagarde scramble for more control. This is why they're going for more CBDCs. The EU is getting cooked right now. And look, I don't like the Fed. I've never really been a Jerome Powell fan, but I think he's doing a great job right now. If this is really about American sovereignty and Trump is kind of, maybe he's doing kind of some theatrics here, and it's like, I don't want this to happen. But again, we know what they want. They want to continue to drive independence in the U.S. dollar. How they can do that is they got to kill the euro dollar markets, which they're doing. That's what Tom Luongo has been covering for a long time. And Trump really does want lower interest rates because he wants that money to slosh around. And so they need the Dixie to go down. They got to make sure that interest rates on bonds don't spike. And they got to make sure that, you know, he wants those rates lower. And this is why they're pushing for stable coins. And this is why they want Bitcoin to rip as high as they want it to rip. Like, when you think of it in this context, it all just kind of plays out like theater. And I think this is kind of the public theatrics, is like, make Jerome Powell the bad guy. We all know he has publicly stated, or rather been publicly quoted as saying that he wants to stop Trump. So I think, you know, I hate to say it, but I do think Jerome Powell is trying to look out for the U.S. best interest. And I think he is kind of being made a scapegoat, though in general, by default, I'm not a fan of the Fed at all. So, you know, I'm of two minds here. And like, again, if you guys want to read more or hear more of this, like, listen to the interview that Nico did with Mark Moss. He laid it out perfectly. And then you can go down whatever rabbit hole you want. But it's becoming very clear what's going on here. And I don't think Jerome Powell is necessarily the bad guy. He's a bad guy by default because he's a central banker, but I don't think he's the bad guy that Trump makes him out to be. Anyways, we did get a super chat. Shouts out to Stussy, because we are 7 months into the year. Let's get serious about year-end price targets. 250K is mine.
All right, but we should do some air horns for that, bro. And someone Stussy 50K. Oh, someone's being bearish, bro. What do you mean 50K?
Get out of the chat.
50K. And I'm gonna end this poll. Is the era of Bitcoin parabolas over? 69% of you guys said no. And I agree. I'm part of that. I'm part of that group of people that agrees with you guys. I don't think the era of Bitcoin parabolas is over. Anyways, guys, we have an incredible show lined up for you. We still have a ton to talk about. We're gonna hit the news segment. We're gonna be right back in just 1 second.
I want to give a shout out to our partner, Ledin, the leader in Bitcoin-backed loans. Unlock the liquidity in your Bitcoin without having to sell your Bitcoin. They've issued $9 billion in loans to over 10,000 customers since 2018. I absolutely love these guys. Not only do I have an account with them, but I also have a loan. And what I love about them is that there are no monthly payments, and you could pay back the loan at any time. As soon as you send your Bitcoin as collateral, you'll have cash in your account within 24 hours. Over 1,000 five-star customer reviews, and they've never lost a single dollar or sat of customer money. Go to learn.ledin.io/simply today, and you'll get 0.25% off your first loan. I want to give a shout out to our partner, Sat123.com. Sovereignty isn't just about your money, it's about your communications too. When the grid goes down, most people go dark. Cell towers fail in hurricanes, cyber attacks, and blackouts. But satellite phones? They don't rely on local infrastructure. Iridium has 77 satellites in orbit, giving you a direct line anywhere in the US, even offshore. If you hold your own Bitcoin keys, you should hold your own comms too. Sat123.com also has everything you need to start building your Bitcoin citadel. Starlink, battery backups, Faraday bags to protect your hardware wallets, and much, much more. It's a one-stop shop for anyone serious about resilience and off-grid independence. Stay connected, stay independent, stay sovereign. Go to sat123.com/simply today and use promo code SIMPLY to get 15% off anything on the store.
Wait, Nico, before you go. Oh, what happened? Did our camera die?
No, what did it?
Yeah, I think it's.
It's not plugged in.
Okay. All right. Well, while we're doing that, we're fixing the camera. Shout out to Ron P. $10 for the Opti Mayo and Coffee Fund. Yes, Chipotle Mayo from Boar's Head is delicious, and coffee is the go. Sorry, guys. We're fixing the camera right now. Maybe it's not plugged in. It's not plugged in. All right, guys. Rookie move. We're coming back. Dude, it's a Monday. It's feeling like a Monday. All right, you're going to have to give it a minute. We could just switch to our computer for a second. I mean, it's just going to take a minute before it charges. Or just pull something up. Pull this up.
All right.
Just full screen it, and then I'll get the camera going. Full screen your source. This guy, what a rookie. There he is.
All right, we're back.
All right, here, I'll deal with the camera.
All right. We are back. Wait, what happened? That's so weird. It's a Monday, bro. It's a Monday. Anyways, guys, let's jump straight into the news while Opti tries to figure this out, and we roll with the punches. We're good? All right. We're going to switch back to the original camera. Anyways, we had this tweet or this post by Josh Mandel. Oh, man. Is it plugged in? Here, hold on. No, it's not working. Well, it's not working on our side. All right, let's jump into the news. All right, so this is kind of covering the recent price action. The markets heat, and then they cool. Of this, you know for sure. And when the temp drops too damn much, the printer, it goes burr. As for the coin, do not fear. I know how this will end. The Fed shall seek, they shall find the data on which they depend. And worse to realize, they're now behind. Here's a little hint. We'll find a way out of this bind. Just wait for the big print. Oof. Very, very nice. Also, I thought this data point was quite interesting. Oh, we're back to OG status. I like this, next to each other. So Fred Krueger says, who owns Bitcoin? Bitcoin is mainly a U.S. thing, which I find really, really interesting, right? Europe is really not involved. So if you take a look at the total supply, most of Bitcoin is held by the United States. I mean, for better or for worse. I don't know how you feel about that, Opti, because I think it's definitely really bad from a decentralization standpoint.
Yeah. Let me look at this real quick. That does. The biggest kind of participants in this market, whether that's by company, ETFs, the U.S. is holding self-custody by individuals. And you could say that that's probably because we are the richest nation and we have the money printer to back us. You know, I'm not going to not say that, but let's see the global. I think this is right. I think this is totally right. Most of the Bitcoin is being held in custody by individuals.
Yeah, but I mean, dude, like percentage of total Bitcoin, 7.8 million. Retail ETFs, institutions, custody. India holds 1% or 5%. 1 million. Coin.
What do you want the opposite to do?
I mean, I would rather it be a little bit decentralized.
Dude,
all over
everyone's
the world.
just being late. They're just late adopters.
I would rather it be decentralized. I don't want
totally decentralized.
I don't want it to just be in one country.
Dude, we're just
Bitcoin
the Bitcoin superpower of the world.
And you call me the magatard, bro.
Hey, dude, I'll steal his memes any day.
So anyhow, okay. So I thought you guys would find that interesting. Now let's jump into the big news for today. Fed Governor Krueger resigns, giving Trump vacancy. Federal Reserve Governor Adriana Krueger will resign her job next week, the Fed said in an announcement, giving President Trump an early opportunity to appoint a favored candidate for potential leadership of the central bank. Here's Caitlin Long responding to it. It says the question is again whether Trump will actually fire Powell. The Board of Governors is 4-3 Dems Repubs. So firing Powell wouldn't have given Trump a GOP majority, but now that Krueger is voluntarily stepping down, that calculus just changed. So it's quite interesting. And then, Opti, I want to get your thoughts on that before I move on to the next bit.
Yeah, well, I think the big takeaway from this is, well, really the most interesting part about this is kind of speculating on why she resigned when she did, especially when there's been a lot of conversations about Jerome Powell resigning. That's been like the rumor for the last couple of weeks, and she kind of stepped down. Now, I think the implications of this playing out now are very interesting. So, you know, Trump's going to obviously put someone in there that they have to vote on, but that's going to be favorable to Trump. And if this is the case, you know what? It's going to be three for three, right? It's going to be completely tied now with the new person coming in. And from my perspective, what that means is lowered interest rates and money printer's going to go burr. So, like, whether this is a good thing for everyone is up for debate. It's really probably not going to be a good thing for everyone. Of course, the more money they print, the more your purchasing power gets destroyed. But on the flip side, if you are holding assets, if you're holding Bitcoin, the more money they print, the more Bitcoin number go up. So I think now it's going to be very interesting considering it's going to be tied, and then what is going to happen with Jerome Powell? Is he going to step down? Is he going to resign? Are the Trump administration going to be able to basically fire him? Now it starts to get really interesting because if Jerome Powell leaves as well, then I'm guessing it's going to be heavily favored in Trump's direction, and we'll see if there really is some independence there. I know Besson's been talking about basically corralling the Fed for a while now, and if they are more, symbiotic here, then they're going to do whatever Trump wants, lowered interest rates, turn on the money printer, inflate their way out of this debt problem. If you're not holding Bitcoin right now, you probably should be. It seems like everything is going in their direction, and they're about to do the hugest, most massive big print possible. So, on the one hand, I don't want to see everyone get destitute and poor out there because they're going to get their purchasing power destroyed. On the other hand, it's going to pump assets up, bro. And we got the fastest race in the horse. So, it's not necessarily a good thing, but it's going to pump. It's going to pump Bitcoin. So on that front, hey, I don't know, man. Hands up. Wash my hands like, Pontius Pilate here.
Whoa. Biblical references here.
Dude,
now.
we're going biblical.
All right, guys, if you guys are enjoying the show so far, it is a Monday. Smash that like button. 485 live viewers on YouTube, 1,500 on X, and about 100 or so watching live on Rumble. If you guys are enjoying today's Simply Bitcoin Live, smash that like button. Really, really helps with the algos to push our message forward. Moving on to the next piece of news. So Opti and I actually played this video for you guys on Friday.
And it nuked our show.
And it just nuked the show completely. It was 100, what?
Go, and then
It was 100.
I got some speculations.
100 live viewers just dropped off the face of the radar. And that usually never happens to us. So we were kind of making jokes about it. Listen,
you guys don't like musicals.
I appreciate the amount of coordination and art that goes into musicals, and I could appreciate the art form. It's just not something that I personally resonate with. I've been to musicals. I like them. It takes a lot of art, man. It takes a lot of talent to practice to get really good at them. So I understand that, right? But at the same time, me and Opti were just, it wasn't our cup of tea I didn't mean to make that joke, but it wasn't our cup. It wasn't our cup of tea in terms of the types of ads that we like to consume. Like I loved the Federal Reserve ads. Like, this is how much dollars they've printed in a year, and it's like you can't afford a house. It was all these things. And I was telling Opti, I was like, I really liked those ads. Those ads punched really hard. Like, they were really good. But for some reason, this Coinbase one didn't really resonate with me. Now, here's Brian Armstrong, the CEO of Coinbase, and he says, our ad, which got banned in the UK by the TV networks, has sparked quite a reaction. If you can't say it, then there must be a kernel of truth in it. Needing to update the system and improve society is not a political statement on either party in the UK. Some have tried to turn it into this, and it's not specific to the UK. We ran ads with similar themes in the US. It's a statement about how the traditional financial system is not working for many people and how crypto represents a way to improve that. There are people in the UK who still think of crypto as some kind of gambling product, a very outdated view, and have completely missed the potential of crypto, which is to update and improve the financial system for the benefit of everyone. We will welcome the attacks and any other attempts to censor this message, as it just helps it spread. Now, okay, two things can be true at the same time. As Bitcoiners, we do believe that crypto is very speculative. We do believe that everything loses value as it compares to Bitcoin. I think cryptos are oscillators at best, right? But they all tend to lose value as it compares to Bitcoin. So does that mean that you can't gamble on one and win some money? Of course you can. Many people have. We don't recommend it. We take the low time preference type of approach. But again, it's your money. You could do whatever you want with it. So I think Brian Armstrong's framing of like crypto is going to fix the financial system, I think that's wrong. I think Bitcoin is going to fix the financial system. I think Bitcoin is already an alternative financial system that doesn't even need to be fixing. You could just opt out into Bitcoin and you could start living your life, and all of a sudden you're going to start living on a deflationary currency and savings, and all of a sudden everything around you is going to get cheaper to the end of time. You could start doing that now. So I do admire and I do appreciate the Coinbase ads because they're extremely effective in terms of production value and in terms of pointing out that the fact that the system is broken, right? Because I think everyone agrees on that. I think like the general consensus is everyone feels like something is wrong. That's a general consensus, and I agree. And I think the Coinbase ads are fantastic because they highlight that everyone believes something is wrong. Where I think Brian gets it wrong is that he's like, crypto is going to fix this. It's like, dude, buying Pepe coin that's down 80% isn't going to fix anything. It's, if anything, it is going to wreck you 100 times more. And what is that but not gambling, right? Like Bitcoin is going to fix this. So in a way, he's true, like crypto. But if you put Bitcoin into the crypto category, but I would say Bitcoin is a crypto, but Bitcoin and crypto are not the same. Bitcoin and altcoins are not the same. I think Bitcoin can solve the issues, but only Bitcoin. And that's because it's absolute scarcity. That's because it's not controlled by anyone. That's because of its immutability. That's because of its censorship resistance. That's because of its decentralization. So, I mean, like, simultaneously, I think the ad was over the target. I think that if you can't talk about something, you know, there's a problem. I think how governments are acting it's been quite interesting, man. Like, you know, I think it's really taken off the veil. I think that's what Bitcoin has done. It's really taken off the veil to what is happening in society. And that to me is, you know, is interesting because the whole point of a government is for it to represent the needs of the people, for it to protect private property, and for it to act in your best interest. Like, we don't live in a dictatorship. We live in a government of which we are supposed to elect and empower in order to represent our needs. It's been Frankensteined 100% into something that that governments don't act like that anymore. The way that I see governments acting now, specifically sort of here in the US, but not so much, but specifically in Europe, is that they're just kind of like, go along with it. If you post something on social media, you're going to jail. If you do something like, you know, again, let's implement these, you know, these specific cities that you want to live in. You know, you can't drive certain cars. Look, I think the question that Bitcoin is going to reveal is not what is money. I think that question, it's getting answered at the moment. But I think the really big question is, what is government? And why am I saying this? Because we didn't have a better alternative for money before Bitcoin. Like, you couldn't have a private money, or you could have, but let's say that it didn't really solve things. So people gave that responsibility to the state, right? So the state is the one who's responsible for the money because the state is supposed to represent the general population. So you're like, okay, the government controls the money. The last 100 years has shown how many times they've abused that privilege, that power, right? Now we have a money that is stateless and it doesn't require the government in order to function. And because of that, it's essentially improved money. Now, where the clash is going to happen, a prediction, and again, it takes away the veil, right? It takes away the veil of legitimacy, because the whole point of which the government has this power of having money and controlling money, it's supposed to be for our best interest. It's supposed to be for the best interest of the people. But you have Senator Lummis basically saying, listen, I can't even audit you guys. You guys aren't telling me the truth. It's a black hole. I can't get the truth out of you guys. What the F is going on? The whole legitimacy behind the government or the state or the central bank controlling money is for you guys. It's for the betterment of society. It's for the betterment of the greater good, so to speak. But if a money comes in, which is Bitcoin, that is better money for everyone, and it's inconvenient for the state that has been benefiting from abusing the trust and the power we bestowed to them by being the caretakers of money, it kind of it moves away the veil, because it exposes that they weren't really interested in doing a good job. They weren't really interested in, being the caretakers of this enormous responsibility. What they were really interested in is power and control. And that's the veil that's being exposed. Like that's the curtain that is being moved. And I always say this, Bitcoin exposes incentives. It exposes incentives really, really hard. So once you're using a Bitcoin standard, everything around you, how people react to you, how the state reacts to you, what they're really doing is they're exposing what they really want themselves. So when you see the European Central Bank saying, hey, we won't be able to continue unless we have a central bank digital currency, they're telling you the truth. The part that they leave out conveniently is the fact that Bitcoin is an improvement to the current system, and it's an improvement for everybody. So everybody's lives get better on a Bitcoin standard, not just a bureaucratic and political elite. Now, what they're trying to do with their messaging is if we lose control of the money, the world is going to spontaneously combust and the society is going to fail and, it's going to be terrible. But we've seen that propaganda against El Salvador. We've seen it before. They said if El Salvador made Bitcoin legal tender, the economy was going to be unstable. It was going to be a disaster. And then again, coincidentally, El Salvador has the most popular president in the Americas, and their economy is booming. And they basically made Bitcoin legal tender. They had to walk it back a little bit because of the IMF, but they had Bitcoin as legal tender. So none of their predictions came true. So again, this isn't about, and please, remember this, guys. Embrace this, internalize this, because when they start attacking this, just remember, they're going to come at it from, this is for your own good. But what you have to understand is it's not for my own good. It is for your good. Because if you are a Gen Zer, if you're a millennial, you are poorer than your parents. Full stop. People my age cannot afford to buy a home and start a family. Full stop. And the only thing that is 100% responsible for that, it's not capitalism. It's not because you didn't vote in the red party or the blue party. It is literally caused by the wealth inequality that happens when the central bank prints money and debases the currency. If you're in the lower and middle classes, you are saving and earning in fiat. When they debase the currency, your earnings and your savings lose purchasing power. If you are very wealthy and you have the privilege and you have the means to save in assets, when they print money, the asset values go up. That's where the wealth inequality is coming from. So their system, the fiat system, is the cause of a lot of the suffering that people are going through these days. And what they're arguing for is basically, let's keep it going. Let's keep that system going because it's for your own good. Don't worry. You're going to own nothing and be happy. Everything is going to be fantastic and fabulous and incredible. I'm sorry. I don't believe you anymore. I've been living on a Bitcoin standard. It's been fantastic. Opti could say the same thing. If you switch over to a Bitcoin standard, you'll be like, wow, things don't need to get more expensive. Things actually get cheaper. As Jeff Booth says, the natural state of the free market is deflationary. Things should get cheaper as time progresses, but things have been getting more expensive. Why is that? Because the government's manipulation and control over the money. That is the single cause. It isn't politics. It isn't the person in power. It isn't anything else. It isn't the economic model. It isn't any of that. It is literally because we live in a society with broken money and Bitcoin fixes this. I'm done. I'm done. It's over. I'm done. Opti, what's your take?
You know, I was just letting you cook, bro. The chat's loving it. This is why they come to the show, is when Nico goes bug-eyed and goes full Nico Jones on it. Great rant. Love it. I do want to kind of bring up my conspiracy theory here on what happened on Friday, bro. So, look, we're going to take Brian Armstrong's word as true that he got banned in the UK. And
why would he lie about that?
I mean, I don't know. I'm just saying. I'm taking that as the given here, okay? This is the given here. And so on Friday when we played the ad, I saw it live while we were doing the show. And we just had like a huge drop off on viewers. And usually that never happens. Like I don't think we've ever lost 100+ viewers actually only during the meme review. For everyone on Rumble, only during the meme review do we lose 100+ viewers at a time. But mid-show, I don't think we've ever really had 100 people drop off during the show. And over the weekend, you know, we were watching the numbers on all of our stuff, and we had a great run. We had like a month of just killing it on our show, and this is the worst performing show we've had in a long time. And I was just kind of talking to Nico, and we were just chatting about what actually happened. I'm like, I think it was just like people don't like musicals, dude. Like I just don't think people really connected with that ad because we had such a hard time kind of getting people back into the show and maintaining our kind of usual viewership on the show. And I was like, okay, like that ad just kind of nuked us. Now, with this updated information, I am going to kind of speculate and go, you know, put my tinfoil hat on here. But maybe, just maybe, the algos picked up that ad, and considering that the UK is kind of stopping a lot of free speech, and if they did ban that ad, of course, you know, over the target, maybe that's one of the reasons why the show didn't do as well as we thought it was going to do. Like, it was a solid show, but that ad just, for various reasons now, apparently, just killed on Friday's show. And so, one, again, just kind of the Occam's razor here, was just people didn't like the ad and our numbers didn't do that good by the end of the show. But a secondary reason could be just, you know, maybe that ad kind of got flagged here, and this is why the show didn't get pushed as hard as it should have on Friday. So just some interesting speculations here on the show in hindsight of what actually happened. And if again, you know, Brian Armstrong, I don't think has a reason to lie that it was banned in the UK, which is absolutely insane. Also, like the show, it was very, very vanilla ad. Like there wasn't even a call of action at the end of it.
It was literally a musical.
It was a musical, but of course, we all know, again, I've been saying it for a minute, the EU's cooked. Yo, like, what more evidence do you need? But yeah, no, that's crazy. I think that explains.
You can't even release a musical, bro.
Dude, you can't even talk.
You can't even release.
Well,
a
to be
musical.
fair, they shouldn't be releasing musicals at all, anyways. But you know,
hey, bro,
I'm trolling.
Each their own. Some people really like them.
I'm totally trolling, guys. I'm trolling.
But anyways, guys, it's gonna be a great show.
Tommy,
we have tons.
The wall.
we have tons to talk about. We're gonna be right back in just a second. Let's check out the culture. Opti's got something to talk about.
I want to give a shout out to our partner, HIVE Digital Technology. Why HIVE in 2025? Unstoppable growth. As the first ever public miner, HIVE's position to quadruple their global footprint, making them one of the world's fastest growing miners in 2025. And with elite operations that consistently top the industry in Bitcoin mined per exahash, HIVE's now headquartered in the USA. They're lean and mean, they're green and clean, and they're rewriting the playbook on sustainable Bitcoin mining. You can catch the latest buzz at HIVE Digital Tech or at hivedigitaltech.com. I want to give a shout out to our partner, bitcoinben.io. If you're into freedom, Bitcoin, and building a real community, this is for you. Gain exclusive access to real-world, members-only, private clubs across the globe, featuring poker nights, expert-led classes, co-working spaces, educational meetups, live events, and more. Current locations include Sarasota, Nashville, Boston, Dallas, Las Vegas, and St. Louis, with new clubs launching soon in West Palm Beach, Scottsdale, Alabama, and beyond. Not to mention Bitcoin Ben's resorts in El Salvador. There's 3 of them, and they're absolutely beautiful. You'll also get access to the first fully backed Bitcoin bank with fiat ramps and savings accounts. It's called Private Key Bank, and you guessed it, it's based out of El Salvador. Go peer-to-peer with Bitcoin bulk buys, tap into home equity for long-term Bitcoin growth, and join their exclusive mining pools if you're interested in mining. What are you waiting for? Head over to bitcoinben.io, join today, where Bitcoin meets freedom.
Okay, guys, we're here for the culture.
I heard
and this is totally about the culture. So here's the headline, and I'm just going to start here because you guys can kind of see the statue. So if you guys didn't hear over the weekend, if you weren't online over the weekend, the Satoshi statue in Lugano was vandalized, and it literally disappeared for a while. Here's Yahoo Finance. They're kind of covering it. And I really brought this up so you guys can kind of get a refresher of what it looked like. And then here's what happened. So someone was over there, and this was Saturday, I believe, and it goes, hey, Plan B Network, where the F has the Satoshi Nakamoto statue gone? And it just completely disappeared. It just was gone for a while. No one knows what happened to it. Later, they did find it. It was missing. It was recovered from, I believe, the lake here, and you can see here the video of them kind of pulling it back together, getting it back on, getting out of the lake. Here, actually, let me zoom in a little bit, and you can see they did recover the statue, and I'm not sure if they're going to put it back up yet, but we did.
They got to fix it.
Yeah, they got to fix it. But, again, the statue disappeared. They did 10 million sats of Bitcoin for its return. It turns out it was in the lake. And no one knows really who did it, what happened. But I do like this this symbolism here from Grubbles. He goes, there is some symbolism to the Satoshi statue being destroyed by some vandal. You literally can't even have a symbolic representation of Bitcoin's creator because it will be targeted and destroyed. The only way is disappearing completely, past, present, and future. And then he trolls with bits instead of sats. So, you know, Grubbles, very, very loyal to the sats versus bits debate here. But I'll just go back to this picture while we kind of chat about it. So this is what it currently looks like. You know, when I first saw this, I really like what Grubble said, you know, makes you kind of think deeper. I don't necessarily think that that's the case per se. It could just be some young kids that really just, you know, are vandalizing stuff and don't really know the significance of it, which is, I think, could be one of the things. Though, if you do take kind of the more nefarious act here of someone purposefully destroying the Satoshi statue, it really does kind of sum up where we are in the story right now, where even though I think a lot of people hear or have heard about Bitcoin, very few people still take what we're doing seriously. They kind of laugh about this whole thing. They still think it's internet nerd money. It's, you know, an internet token. No one really takes what we're doing that seriously here. That's kind of the more cynical, more pessimistic take of this. And of course, you could put your tinfoil hat on as much as you want and talk about who these potential people could be that are destroying this statue. Is this some kind of organized attack on the statue itself? And I'll go back here. You know, you can see it got found in the lake, etc. But this was kind of like the big story going around in the culture right now, and it really makes you wonder about the cultural zeitgeist around Bitcoin right now. Of course, this was kind of like an awesome thing. A lot of Bitcoiners really liked the statue, and they're like, man, this is so cool. You know, Satoshi should have the Nobel Peace Prize, and we got a statue of him. We don't really know who it is. It was pretty, you know, cypherpunk, etc. And like the way you look at it, you can't really see it's a whole statue. But it is interesting to see it get vandalized and really kind of pinpoint what the intentions were behind vandalizing it. Was it? I mean, it doesn't look like it was an easy vandalize, you know, mission here. It looks like it took a lot of effort to break this thing down. So it makes you wonder who did it. Was it some young kids that were just messing around? I know when I was younger, I probably did some dumb stuff. That could be one of the reasons. The other reason is, you know, I guess maybe they just don't like Bitcoin here. But it was me. Where was you? Where were you last week? No, it wasn't me, bro. I'm Satoshi did it. That's good. That is good. Yeah, I don't know, man. But that happened over the weekend. So someone attacked the Satoshi statue. This is what it looked like originally. And then this is where it popped up on
That's crazy.
On the timeline.
That's crazy.
So
man.
who knows what really happened, but
I think
that's what happened.
This is, you know, I'm pretty sure I know what happened. I'm
Go
pretty
on.
sure I know what happened. All right, so Chrissy Lagarde had a night, you know, she had a night on right? She had a good time.
Yeah, we did.
In Lugano. And she went out, you know, and she was walking, you know, the beautiful park that they have by the lake, and she saw the Satoshi statue and she got very upset. You know, that's what happened.
Yeah.
You know, and she was like,
yeah, this is a good point. They need a crane to lift it. I don't think it was one guy. I don't think this was kids.
There's no
I don't
way.
think Christine Lagarde could do this herself.
It's like a heavy metal statue. Do you think this was coordinated? I think this was
that's kind of what I'm insinuating
but
here.
to destroy the symbolism, dude. I mean, that's hardcore, bro. This isn't child's play, dude. Like, this is real, you know? Anyways. All right, guys, if you guys enjoyed the show, you know what to do. It's August 4th, 2025. I'm your host, Nikos, my legendary co-host, Optimus Fields. If you guys enjoyed it, smash that like button. Consider subscribing if you feel like we provided you value. We'll be back tomorrow for a brand new episode of Simply Bitcoin Live.
Today's episode was brought to you by BitcoinWell.com, a Bitcoin-only platform on a mission to enable financial independence.